your thoughts on how what you do at Supermicro with leading a sales team that's focused on AI and data centers may change in the next 2 to 4 years. When you look into your crystal ball, what do you think is different, and what do you think stays the same about what it takes to lead a sales organization in this industry?
Uh, I would say like for my personal job, I think it's going to be getting it will get much busy in the coming year 2020 because we are building a lot of good momentum right now for Supermicro's business, particularly our data center business. Uh, I would say mm, in the 2 years, I really think like AI will be changed a lot for our day-to-day life. I hope really like let's say in the 2 years when I open my laptop, the AI will help me to generate the priority, the kind of the top to-do list. As I open my laptop, AI can help me to automatically draft a business email to my clients and also use tools like a Copilot. Um, I think that's very will be I'm looking for the same time. So as a professional work, AI marketing will be much easier for me to connect it with my customer. Like a super, connecting with my customer for Supermicro's products like a GPU racks, infrastructure, and end-to-end solutions. And I really think that like that could be two major things. The last thing, I am a big fan for like a safe driving technologies because I really think like the safe driving technology will apply a lot of AI, chip infrastructure. I'm looking for more like a more safe driving car on the road, and one day maybe I can one Tesla have their FSD, I believe FSD, to try the safe driving experience.
Yeah, what I find really fascinating about the self-driving is not only that it unlocks the ability of people to drive that shouldn't be driving. You could potentially have children. You could have your kids go to a pediatrician or friend's house or something like that. Um, you could also have people that are at the age where they shouldn't be driving anymore, at 80, 90, 100 years old, where they're starting to lose some of their faculties, improve the safety. But there's also a really interesting part of that as well, is that when you're not driving, you actually can be working.
I
Very similar to being able to work when you're on a flight.
You're 100% right because again, I'm a big fan. Even I don't have my Tesla today, right? I try, have you ever like try like a Waymo tax in
Not
like
yet. Looking towards it.
Austin,
Yeah.
right? So I actually, maybe we're over time already, but I went to Austin to attend a conference. I stayed for 3 days. I take 2 times Waymo tax. It's I feel good about that. I feel safe even, right? I also feel safe, and it's amazing. For me, like you mentioned, like if someday I'm working and I have to send my kids to say the doctor, say or send to my friends, I don't need to drive. I just put it a like safe driving feature there. I have confidence that the car will send my kids to the distance that they're supposed to be. And also in like in the future, um, for those like a teenager, I even don't think they need a driver license because you don't need to drive the car by yourself, right? And that's the beauty of a self-driving car can really kind of reshape, how people have to go one place to other place. Now, a driving car is a privilege, right? First of all, you need to go to the drive test. You need to pass it, and imagine for some old lady or old person, they cannot drive anymore. So, but if they can take a safe driving car, they can still go anywhere what they want. So I'm looking for that technology actually could be changing people's life in the daily basis. If I could add one, do you know like how many FSD, Tesla FSD subscriber today is over 3 million people already. That's quite a lot. Tesla today, they're, I think they charge people like I think they charge like a 99 per month, right? So essentially, hey, you say I'm going to just buy a few months, or I want to buy the year. I want to try it. $99 per month, and they have over 3 million subscriber already.
It changes even the nature of road trips. If we used to take an annual trip, I grew up in New Jersey, about a half hour south of Manhattan, and we used to take a trip once a year to drive to South Florida to visit my grandparents. And it would almost always, because it was about 20 hours of driving, it would always require an overnight stay. And a lot of the reason you're doing an overnight stay is because it's just not, it's the fatigue. It's not just that you're stopping for gas and stopping for meals and stuff. It's just, it's not safe. But plus on top of it, when you're self-driving, you can take advantage of driving during, for example, if you're driving during the summer where you have cooler times of the day where you're driving overnight, or driving in off-peak times where there's no traffic or no construction that will slow you down. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting byproducts with all of that. And then you look at the dashboard and it feels like a tablet. It feels like, and it's all AI that's running anything. So yeah, it's super interesting to see what ends up happening with that. I think Elon Musk has a lot of innovations that will dramatically change where we go. I was on a panel earlier today too, and they were talking about the data centers in space and how that potentially solves environmental activists' objections. It solves the grid energy, water usage, a whole host of objections that people have right now. And what's interesting about the optimism around that is you were at Microsoft 10 years ago. Remember when Microsoft was putting the submersible data centers in the ocean? And whenever I talk to sustainability-minded data center professionals in the UK, they love to bring that example of experiments that didn't quite click. But there's a lot of optimism around what happens when SpaceX can blast a data center out into orbit. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that in the coming years.
Yeah.
No one will worry about the nuclear reactor in theory, right? Suborbital, but